The MCMHS department is committed to provide students with relevant, high-quality, and world-class education that will equip learners the necessary capability to traverse the 21st century and vocalize their thoughts in a safe space. Hi, my name is Eder Mante, your host for this episode of Duma Parlement. Today, we are celebrating 2022's Women's History Month. This month is dedicated to the many women who have made their mark in history, from queens of large empires to the courageous ladies who stood up for what they believed in. The idea of Women's History Month has been in a long and arduous journey to become what it is today. Its previous form, it was known as Women's History Week, a local celebration in the U.S. state of California in 1978. This was celebrated in March to correspond with International Women's Day. This began to spread across the U.S. as communities initiated their own Women's History Week in the following year. In 1980, groups of women and historians lobbied the U.S. Congress for national recognition of the event. This was successful as the law was signed as the National Women History Week. This law and celebration was honored until 1995 when it became the Women's History Month. However, other nations, including the Philippines, had adopted this, with the latter adopting it in 1990. But let's move on from the history of Women's History Month now to our notable women of history. We have the following. Marie Curie is a Polish-French physicist who discovered polonium. It is an element 400 times more radioactive than uranium, as well as radium. Her research had changed our understanding of radiation and its use in medicine. Rosalie Franklin is an English chemist who created a technique called X-ray crystallography. This revealed the helical shape of the DNA molecule, revealing the mystery of DNA, one of the most fundamental materials in life. We have Maria Ressa. She is the first Filipino Nobel Prize winner, which she had gotten from doing investigative journalism in the Philippines, even at the cost and risks of her life. She is the CEO of Rappler, a mass media website in the country. Queen Elizabeth I is the ruler of England and Ireland. Even when she was declared an illegitimate heir before, she established Protestantism in the country, maintaining eternal peace, and defeated the Spanish in the sea. She as well ended the war with France peacefully. She created an environment in her country where the arts flourished and was the golden age of England. She was called the Virgin Queen as she was never married. Catherine the Great. She was a Russian empress that brought Russia to Western standards and began the reorganization of her country. She won various wars against her neighbors, adding the Crimea and Poland. She proved to be a good head of state as she created various economic and cultural projects. Amelia Earhart is the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean, and the first person to fly solo from Hawaii to the US mainland. She helped form the 99s, which is an international organization for the advancement of female pilots. She disappeared from the air as she attempted to be the first person to circumnavigate the globe. And lastly, we have Gabriela Silang, a Filipina military leader known for being the leader of the Ilocano independence movement from Spain. She took over from her second husband, Diego Silang, after his assassination. She led her people for 4 months before being captured and executed by the Spanish colonial government. She was feared by Spanish troops as she waged guerrilla warfare against their garrisons. These are women from different backgrounds and different countries, but they all had one thing in common. They struggled against the patriarchal-based society and triumphed in flying colors. In an age where men dominated the land, Women, time and time again, proved their worth. A lot of them weren't as famous as the ones mentioned, but they fought just as hard and strived to have equality. As we celebrate this month, we must remember and honor the women who have shaped our society as it is today, and to ensure their sacrifices and efforts were not in vain. To women who are listening to this podcast, maybe you'll be the next woman who would set her mark in history. To that I say, are you up for the challenge? For today, we don't have students' messages, so instead, I'd like to share with you who are the most influential women to me. I'd like to start with all trans women who've made an impact in history. They've fought long for society to accept and respect their identity, which I find motivating in finding myself. To all the devoted and hardworking single women, I aspire to have their mindset and energy to reach my goals and to help other people in the world. Lastly, to all the sisters and mothers, especially mine, for all that they've done, balancing work, family, and activities that sometimes they forget themselves. I desire to have their confidence, strength, and yearning for more despite what society tries to limit them to. That's all we have for today. We hope you learned something new and remember to be thankful for the women who've changed the world, our world. Thank you for listening. Hi everyone! Leave your messages and requests for our next podcast next month. We're here posting every end of the 2 weeks and twice a month. We hope to hear from you next time. There will be links left below where you can leave your suggestions and messages. Keep in mind that these will be moderated. And again, Edermante, your host, signing off.